fundamentals when a client's building with True Homes. You have the ability to pick from those 20 different floor plans that we offer. Your clientele have the ability to pick which lot that they want, and they also pick that elevation of the home. Build processes at True Homes are typically 7 to 8 months. We've been as low as 6, but as you know, a lot of that's just going to depend on the seasonality of Charleston, how much rain we're getting, supply chain, all the stuff with tariffs. But average build time is going to be roughly 7 to 8 months. Thank you, Holly.
Sorry.
No, you're good. And so this is what I was talking about when we talked about different structural integrities throughout each floor plan. So we create that nice foundation where your client's not having to go out with a custom builder and they're hiring an architect and they're hiring an engineer and they're paying, X amount of dollars per square foot, which is typically doubling your average compared to a production or semi-custom builder. These lifestyles are the different configurations that we offer within the home. Basically, what you see is the space becomes more defined as you go from open to traditional. But I do like to tell clients that it's not your grandma's traditional that you saw in the 80s. Definitely really good flows throughout the homes. And then everything you'll see in orange is specific to each floor plan, but these are different structural changes that you can make throughout the home. As the homes get larger, we have products anywhere from 2 to 4,000 square feet. As you stretch that home out, you start to see more options come within the price of the home.
Some of this, we got about 1 more minute left, but if you go to the properties here in Charleston, talk a little bit about those. So
Yeah, definitely.
opportunities here, and then
Yeah.
we can get on your invite everybody.
No, definitely. So we currently have 2 locations here in Charleston. Homecoming's a master plan community. Ashley Ridge, DD2 school district, right down from Ashley Ridge High School. That's where I'm out of. We do have a second property, Reeves Crossing in St. George, South Carolina. Really cool, unique products. We have about 30% of the market share out there currently. Would love to connect with you all. Sorry that we don't have a lot of time, but the big thing is just the growth coming in this year. We have 2 new communities that will be opening up in 2026. McLaura Bluff, it's going to be Marshfront property on the corner of 61 Ashley River Road in East Berry. We have about 17 different lots there. So we also have a new townhome community coming up in Ridgeville. And then in 2027, we're expected to double in size again, having 7 open communities. So a lot of growth coming. And for me, I just want to be a value add to you in any way I can. If you're ever looking to come up to a community, shoot content, have open houses, or if you're just looking for quotes on pricing, would love to be an advocate for you all. And just really excited for the growth that we're going to see at True Homes in the next year or 2.
Awesome.
Very nice.
Thank you so much.
I appreciate you. Thank you.
Get that contact info in our.
Yeah, how about we look for you guys? But thank you guys again. Thank you.
All right,
Kelly, next.
come on up. Tell us a little bit about what's going on in the market. Let's give a hand to Kelly.
I'm Kelly Collins. I'm your trusted mortgage advisor and basic market nerd. So I have been studying and all of this kind of stuff. Wanted to let you know that loan applications, we saw a nice little rebound in January. Loan applications leads to more buyers wanting to come into the market. So we are seeing this nice little increase. Does anybody know what affects mortgage rates? The mortgage rates are sold on the bond market, very much like stock market. So when you see demand increase, that can increase or it could lower rates. We're seeing that demand is starting to increase, but we also have inflation is staying steady. It got lower towards the end of last year and it's staying steady. The other big factor is unemployment is staying steady. And so those things are meaning that we are going to see, all the experts are saying this was not me, are seeing a steadying of interest rates into this year, maybe even a slight decrease. So right now, the average interest rate on a closed loan is 6.1. What that means is that doesn't mean that you should go quote 6.1 as rates to anybody. That means for your knowledge, 6.1 is the average. We closed loans last month at 4.75 to 7.5, depending on all the factors that go into it. You don't know the factors that go into an interest rate? Please let me know. I'm happy to have that conversation with you and guide you how to better talk to your client. But that the 6.1 average is the lowest we've seen since January of 2022. So that should be really encouraging for you as you put together your business plans. As you get out there and talk to people, people are more willing to talk because now that number starts with a 6 and not a 7. Okay, people hitting 7 that shut them down, they go somewhere else. I don't know why, because their interest rates on their card are 11%. But we're still homes 6%. But today, everything I have quoted in the last 3 weeks is sort of a buy. Everything. So that is getting more people interested in buying. Mortgage payments are also down by 5% year over year. So from this time last year. So that can have a really good impact. Some of that is people have more equity. Did you know that average home in South Carolina, according to CoreLogic, has about $330,000 in equity? Okay, so equity is huge. The flip side of that, what is causing some people to get off the fence, if you're being proactive as an agent and I'm being proactive as a mortgage loan officer, we're helping people coach. One of the things that's stopping people from buying is affordability, not just home affordability, because interest rates, taxes, and all of that are higher, but their consumer debt. So nationwide, the average consumer debt is $105,056.
No way.
Say that again.
That's just my credit card.
For helping average.
Sure.
So according to USA Facts and Motley Fool, the average total consumer debt is $105,056.
Not mortgage.
Not mortgage, consumer debt. Consumer debt is credit cards, auto loans, that personal loan, that payday loan, all those kind of things.
Does it include student loans?
No, this does not include student loans. And so, but in South Carolina, we're a little bit smarter with our money. The average is $56,600. Now, on that $56,600, the average monthly payment of this consumer debt is over $1,900 a month.
Yes.
If you're paying $1,900 a month on consumer debt, that's going to affect your home affordability, correct? But if you have equity and you're willing to go in and have a conversation about somebody about their equity, about how to better their lifestyle, you can create a listing and a buy. And so that is what we did with this person. So basically, I can pass this around after I mark off her name. But this woman, her consumer debt, she's got $52,300, $1,698 a month in consumer debt. She said, because of that, I can only afford $1,900 a month, or sorry, $1,700 a month in a mortgage payment. So what we're doing is we're selling her home. She didn't even think about paying off the debt. She just thought she had to take that $100,000 and move it all over here. We're going to pay off her debt, use that to buy her new home. We're giving them back $900 a month in their budget. She thought she could only afford a $250,000 home because her payment was $1,700. That's all she could afford. What we're doing is we paid off our consumer debt. We're saving her $900 a month. Her new mortgage payment, if you notice that these are all the same purchase price, just different monthly payments. I've got 2 monthly payments about the same with the $35,000 less cash out of pocket for the second option. So we're structuring things. We're teaching people not just how to buy a house, educate yourself on how to use that equity, how to talk about using the equity to buy the new home. Their mortgage payments can be lower, according to statistic. These lower monthly payments have to do with the fact that they are using their equity to pay down more of the loan amount and also to save on the interest rates. So talk to people about that. The other thing, I'm going to pass out 2 report cards. I just brought 2 because I was advised that maybe I don't need to leave a bunch of paper about, so I'm not going to. Thank you for the advice. But if you want one of these for the area, I only have one. So I brought the one for Sullivan's Island because I thought it was fun. 5-year historical appreciation in Sullivan's Island is 9.55%. So this shows you, this is just a report card for Sullivan's Island. I have ran one somewhere. I might find it. For Somerville as well, showing historical appreciation, why buying is a good thing, how you can actually invest money in real estate to help it grow. So appreciation, know these numbers. This is what you can get out for your social and all that kind of stuff, talking about how it's a good investment, how your money grows. And be careful with announcing interest rate, but you can say interest rate are as low as they are, have been since January of 2022. Get more people talking. Any questions about any of that?
I think, well, because can you, not now, just another one, but can you send out a post or an email or something like that if the company wanted to bring me in for national bonds? Can you, and if it does happen, can you speak to it, explain, because I have no idea what that means.
Absolutely.
So I know it's not urgent now because it's not happening. If it does, can you explain how that affects loan, how it affects loan, what that means? Because it's
Absolutely. I can even take some time to talk about that next time.
yeah.
Or I
If it happens, I mean, because it doesn't happen, you don't have to worry.
well, I mean, it's very, very likely gonna happen.
Okay.
So, I can explain, because that's why interest rates are so low. Thank you so much.
So I want to give you a 2 minute,
Simple.
simple explanation of what could have, but now everybody wants that. Yeah. If, so it's $200 million worth of, something like that of bonds.
Right, so basically the mortgage bond market, kind of correlates with the 10-year treasury. So people like secure investments, invest in mortgage bonds or treasuries typically. They don't put their money in the stock market, the S&P scares them to death. So what happens is the more investors that start buying bonds when they kind of like the mortgage bonds because their rates are a little bit better or something like that, that drives the price down. So when there's more and more of it, there's less bonds available. Because basically you can only buy mortgage bonds if there's a mortgage. Because mortgage bonds are created by packaging up all the mortgages that are sold by this company, this company, this company, and this company. So now we've got 4 mortgage bonds. We're going to put them on the market and let people invest them. So
Consumers are investing.
consumers, institutions, all that cool stuff.
Okay.
But when the government starts diving in to start buying these things down,
Right.
bond markets also work a lot on emotion. Like they move daily beyond on emotion. What happened the last time that the Fed funds rate dropped, not this last time, but the previous 2 times, mortgage rates went up because the Fed chair came on and started talking about stuff and scared everybody to death. So even though they went down, mortgage rates went up because there was so emotion. So when the government, say, comes in and starts buying all these things, everybody else says, well, I'll jump on the train. If the government can do it, it's good for me too. And so what that does is that will drive down the price of it a little bit. Because then all these institutional investors, they jump something else. And so they've got to lower the price for the individuals that want the secure things. When the government starts investing, it drives down the total bond because the people who are really the tried and true investors that support it, they don't want to earn 5%. They want to earn 7. They want to earn 6. They don't want to earn 2. But when the government gets involved, like they did during COVID, it drops the rate of those bonds because all these people who are trying to drive up the mortgage bond prices, they move somewhere else. So that's what happens. Basically, the government buying up all these things forces a discount on the bonds, which creates a lower bond rate environment, but it also drives up home prices. Like if we get to 4 or 5% again, we're gonna start seeing multiple offers. Like we're already seeing multiple offers right now in a lot of really fairly priced homes. And I'm getting the panic calls at 8:30 at night. Rerun numbers for us. Can we do this? Can we do this? Because we're in multiple offers. So when rates get really low, competition comes out. You're gonna see home prices go up again. So buyers, if that does happen, buyers need to be prepared with money in case they have to do bid over and all those kind of things again. So does that answer your question at all?
Okay, I'm sorry to say about it, what, it's not like, you know, but I because it doesn't help us.
It taught me. I got hours for them.
We're trending on,
Yeah.
talk about the students' goal, what quantitative easing, essentially a strategy that they're leveraging.
Yeah.
Right, and it's a strategy that is meant to take buyers and take consumers off the shelf, so to speak, off the bench.
Right.
And deploy capital, right? So that's good for the housing market. Yeah, it can be challenging because inflation at times can be existed in quantitative easing situations, right?
What happened during COVID?
Which is exactly what happened.
That's why inflation went up. That's now why bottle ketchup costs $8 because government stepped in a little too much and caused all of this to go down. And now people were expecting things to be $5 ticket items was so cheap. And they stopped investing in these secure things. And like it just moves money where the freedom of the market and the capital that normally drives things a little bit more, it takes some of that out, which artificially deflates rates.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
There's a lot there. Maybe we'll find some resources on the impact of to real estate potentially, right? From reputable sources like Housing Wire, things of that nature that we can put into the recap to just give people some things in their back pocket around what is quantitative easing, what does this mean for the real estate market potentially, and that could be a good touch to your database as well. With that said, real quick, give me two things. We're in 2026, which is a great thing. It's going to be fun, right? 2025 is over, 2026, here we come. Full, I don't know, pedal down, we're going. So give me something good that's happened in the last 2 weeks or something that you're excited about or fill somebody's bucket. Give me two. I have one too.
I'll fill a bucket.
Uh-oh.
I like to fill Amber's bucket. I think she did an amazing job. I would have been exhausted, and she was like day 5 was like day 1. So I appreciate Amber. So yeah,
That's awesome. Yeah, if you didn't get to go to Ignite, I'm sure we're running again. Not Amber. But we were really lucky in first off the dedication that Amber had to give back to the Market Center in that way. We were really lucky in kind of the revamp and being a kind of a beta test, so to speak, of some of the new material that has come out and kind of from KWRI and the powers that be in getting people into production quicker. That is a great foundational course. So that's awesome.
And the people who came need to be on the bucket too. There was a big group every day, and which speaks highly again to you as an instructor, but just the dedication of the people who came and went through it, both new agents, experience, and everything. It's awesome.
Experience this week and make Amber's instruction. I'm a brand new agent. I have 3 open houses this weekend just because of her guidance and her.
That's awesome. That's the win right there. Give me one more. Amber.
I like the bucket fill, Scott Baskin, Stella Tootin, and Sean Ferry. When I reached out and asked for a listing, they responded. I'm taking a group tomorrow, so for anyone that wants to be there, get with me and I'll let you know. But we're going to do an open house simulation for newer agents just to kind of see what it really feels like so that when they do it for the first time, they've got that confidence. So I want to shout out those agents, but then also Bucket Fill leadership. I wouldn't have been able to do that class last week. I have no name recognition. Leadership helped bring the people in. And so everyone that was responsible for that, thank you. Because you put the word out there that got the people through the door. And I appreciate that because it was a large number.
Love it. Let's give everybody a hand. Take up on that opportunity. That'd be awesome. I love the idea of workshopping the things that we're learning. Amber and I were talking about that, and I love that we're having that. Thank you. What do we got next?
You got one.
What?
You said you had one too.
Mine was Amber.
Well,
What are you? No. New face in the room, but he knew who, I heard one of the,
Yeah.
awesome, what was it?
Georgiana.
Georgiana, welcome to the family. Anybody else new in the last, let's call it 90 days? There's one, Nora. Yeah, let's give her a round.
Anyone online?
Anyone online?
Not.
Not in the chitty chats.
What we got next? All right, let's give a huge shout out to Chucktown leading the way. This is Charleston as a whole.
Yes.
Charleston as a whole, month to date on the left, year to date on the right. There's your top 10, 5 teams for the awesome. Here's your top 5 teams, which is awesome. If you're in the room, are you in the room? So you've got the online, let's give them a shout out. And then we've got the top individuals on the year. Congratulations. Are you on here? Raise your hand. Trina Green's on there. Hey, way to go. Shenandoah. That's awesome. Let's give all of these individuals another ring. The amount of production coming from this group of agents is just astounding, especially when you look relative to the last 4 years, 5 years, whatever you want to look at. It's just unbelievable. So it's so cool to see these numbers. And again, a huge shout out to all these people. It's awesome. And a huge shout out to our new ALC, the Agent Leadership Council. Let's give them a hand. Can we stand? If you're on the ALC, stand up. Woo, let's get a hand.
I just want to thank ALC too. For those of you that don't know what the ALC is, it's the Associate Leadership Council. This is the board of directors basically for the organization for the year 2026. To be invited to be on the ALC, you have to be about 20% of production. That's the first part of it. And then these 10 have actually committed to the growth in their business first and foremost on that. But then you'll be hearing a lot from them. You already have as far as the committees. Their main focuses for the organization are going to be growth, productivity, profitability, and culture. Like that's where their focus is this year. And I have to tell you, I'm really learning out in the ALC. We're doing something a little different this year where I'm chairing the ALC with Vince. And so we're kind of working together on that. And these guys are dedicated. They are passionate about building their business. They're passionate about building y'all's business. So it's gonna be a fun year. I'm really excited about it. And speaking of business plans, they have all done their business plans too. They haven't all turned them into me. So we're gonna lead by example. How you like that first?
Oh, yeah. Excuses.
All right, so January 15th, that's when they started blaming the ALC.
Yeah. So we're really excited. First and foremost, like Joseph said, it's about growing their business and then continuing to bring more value, kind of be a voice to the leadership team so we can more value to the base. So it's exciting. Exciting. What we got next? Kylie, tell us, what is Leverage Like a Pro?
What do you do when you've done a month on yourself and you move around?
Also, page 173, Millionaire Real Estate Agent. Almost quoted it verbatim. So what are you going to learn in Leverage Like a Pro? Why should they go?
Well, you're supposed to stick around my dad.
Oh, there you go. Are you going to talk about this later or something?
Yeah, this is today. It's Decker.
Oh, there you go. Even better. They can go to Leverage Like a Pro today. What else we got?
All right. We're gonna be closed on Monday, just so everybody knows. All offices, key fob only. If you need key fob access before then, just reach out to me. Let me know if you don't already have key fob access, but we will be closed on Monday.
Awesome.
And we have our oyster roast, guys. This is next Thursday. I am super, super excited. We have some amazing, bonfire, oysters, barbecue, bands. We're on the water. It's going to be amazing. All of our sponsors have cute little drink names at the bar. So we'll have that. So that will be super fun and super cute. So make sure you sign up.
If you're waiting for the next time we announce it, don't, because it's a week from today.
Yes.
Sign up. Why sign up?
Super great.
On food, sign up so we know to buy it.
Gotta get my catering numbers by Tuesday.
You know?
Friday.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, no.
Scan this and make sure you scan. That's important.
now.
All
What
right.
else we got? 6-person perspectives. We're talking about this.
Six personal perspective. So when he's going to be teaching this on January 26th, this is going to be the very like the long day version. But it's how to kind of master yourself and kind of the steps that it takes to do that, because sometimes it sounds easier than it is. And then once you master yourself, you can move through the process of building good habits and reaching these big goals that you really want to reach, but it all kind of starts in the beginning. So what kind of perspectives do you have to have in order to get to the highest level that you guys want to get to? 2026 just started, so this is going to be an amazing class to go in and get your mindset right so that you can really crush out the 2026 year.
It's awesome. They say that business is 90% skill or 10% skill set, 90% mindset. This is a great class to go and learn. These perspectives simply come from a group and kind of a case study of how do the most successful individuals or those that hit their goal think, and what are the ways that they think about the things that are happening, about the investment of time, the whole nine yards, as compared to those that might come up short. What are the differences? And Winnie does an amazing job of walking through that, so it's a great way to start the year. Make sure you join. What you got?
Oh, I have a building smart plans class next Tuesday at 12:30. Every Tuesday at 12:30 virtually. It's the same Zoom link. So if you have an old link, you can still use it. I'm gonna be going through different aspects of tech and command so that you can really leverage your time and energy. Yes, it takes time to build smart plans, but once you do it the one time, it is so easy to go in and just adjust it, especially if it's a recurring one. And I mean, if you're using it for the whole year, all you got to do is change the year. Make sure you set the date, like calendar reminder. But so we're gonna go through, and I know I create a lot of smart plans. So how do you build and create your own smart plans from scratch? And then I also have the rest of the schedule, kind of what you can look forward to for the rest of the year. We already did the database DTD2 that is recorded. YouTube did close it. So I do have a private link. I'm going to send that out today because I did show somebody, I showed fake addresses and YouTube got that. So I'll send that out.
We're going to talk about the audit of our business, and there's going to be three core components of lead gen, follow up, and transaction management. We're going to talk about it. But think about the training and how that could fill the void maybe in your business when we go through that audit, right? And we'll kind of come back to this. But if you don't have a smart plan, or if you don't have a touch plan that is going out to your database in an automated way with frequency and intensity, I'm going to give you the answer. Go to the 20th, because that is imperative in connecting with our database and building out our business.
Out of curiosity, who's running smart plans right now? How do you guys?
Percentage, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Well, what else we got?
Market
recap. Joseph, you want to tell us about what the market recap is?
So the market recap is basically what we started last year, and this is exciting because this will be a full year that we've been doing it. So this is not just pulling market stats from Market Monitor. This is diving deep into what impacted the values, the time on market, et cetera, in Q4. So what that's done is taken the data to say, there are basically two markets that we're in. We generalize everything. We say median days on market was 39. That's not really reality, right? Because that's two different markets. It's homes that were in the market and homes that were out of the market. What's the number one indicator of whether or not you were in or out of the market? One thing. There's one thing only. If you sold, right? What moved you from out of the market to in market? Price. It's 100% price, right? So we'll really narrow down to say if you were out of the market, you're not 39 days. If you were in the market, you're not 39 days. So we're really going to dig deep on that. And they're great scripts and conversations to have with your clients about. Yeah, 100%. Next, when is that? Thursday?
Thursday the 29th. It's gonna be
From today.
2 weeks
Say
from
a
today.
week after the oyster roast that you also signed up for.
Yeah,
That's right.
100%.
That's right.
Where is it?
Family reunion.
It's on Terry. It's at the DR Hortons meeting space. Tara's been a really great person in our office to help us with a lot of the big events that we're doing, and they're letting us use the space for free. So I mean, it's a win-win for everybody. They get to bring us lunch, get to say hi, and we get to use their space. So really excited.
Going on this morning.
Tons of registering. Yeah, I mean that's what we're here for, is to learn where to go to next, right?
And family reunion. Shenandoah.
Yeah.
Right, we called in last call, but I'm so excited. If you've not come in command and started looking at the agenda, they have it in there. You can start doing your itinerary. There's a ton of sessions listed already on AI. So I would really encourage y'all before you even look at the sessions, really with your business plan that we're all supposed to have already written. Think about what your focus is and focus on that. Don't get off in the weeds because there's gonna be so much out there and you'll get way overwhelmed, and you really want to focus in on one or two things so that your time is well used and it will affect your business positively when we get back from payroll reading. So that's my plug. I'm so excited for everybody. Holly's got.
I want to say something too. If you guys have the command app downloaded on your phone, you can view the events here. You can save the events that you want to go to. And I was on a tech call with Sydney on Monday, and they said, as people register and sign up for these classes, they might switch the rooms. So make sure you're checking the app to see where to go and see where those events are going to be held. If you save it, it'll be in your favorites, but it'll update the location. So just make sure you're checking the app in case there's a room change.
Family reunion is one of the single biggest leverage points in our business. Not only is it the content that's valuable, but it's the networking, the collaboration, the perspectives gleaned that is even probably 10x more valuable than even the conversations, or rather than the content. So the fact that it's in Atlanta and we have an opportunity to go just a short distance is awesome. I promise it will be when you go a return on your business and on your investment. Want to add anything?
Do we have enough for a caravan yet? Enough sign up?
Oh yeah.
No.
When's driving the bus?
On the bus, he's gonna drive.
I'll bring the beverages.
And all of a sudden we sold out.
All right, so it's the beginning of the year, and I mean, you read all these crazy statistics around New Year's resolutions and who's stopped by January 14th, which is a very high percentage, fascinating enough, and the reason behind and all those things. But we're also sitting there and we're saying, what are the things that we have to work on that would have a massive impact in me hitting my 2026 goal? We're at the very beginning. We're 2 weeks in, right? Many of us probably hit the first week of the year with a lot of excitement and a lot of energy. Some of us might not have, right? And we're looking at our businesses and we're saying, where do I spend my time? Right? Where is my biggest deficiency, or what are the questions that I have to ask in order to find where I can invest my time? Because we know that the 80-20 principle exists. What's the 80-20 principle?
20% of our activities go to 80% of our results.
That's right. 20% of our activities determine 80% of our results, which tells us what? What does it tell us about things that we do?
There's a lot of stuff that we do that make very little impact.
That's right. Not all things are created equal. So not everything that we do is going to be or should be or have to be done to get the same result. So this business audit helps us really take kind of our business, which can be complex, and really audit it down or simplify it down into 3 simple places to identify challenges, to change, and then questions that we can ask about how to change them so that we hit our goal in 2026. Does this make sense? So Joseph, when you think about real estate, well, let's put this over here. I'm right with my right hand, and you're gonna make me draw. When you think about real estate, what are the 3 components of it?
So, well, when we talk about real estate as a business, where's the culmination come from? Like, what's the end result that we're looking for in real estate business?
Commission?
It's okay to say that. I mean, we're running a real estate business, right? So you have a closing, right?
Perfect.
There's your 10K.
There's your 10 things. So what builds up to the closing? In order to have a closing, you have to have a what? Right. Okay, right. And then after the client, what do you have? So you're basically a contract, getting the client under contract and closing. Right? That's what you're looking for in this? Yeah.
You're doing really good about actually setting it up at all. So what's the first part of the curve? In order to get to a transaction, what's the first thing I have to do? Holy smokes. I'm gonna give you a hint. You're right. And then there's two answers to everything in Keller Williams. Does anybody know what they are? Lead gen, and what's the other one?
Oh, mine's-
All of them works. Oh. But mindset, it's always lead gen and mindset. So lead gen, what does lead gen mean?
Talk to more people.
Relational.
How am I meeting new people? How am I making new friends? The method is typically going to be chosen on you. That's your choice. But there's really warm outreach, cold outreach, right? Those are pretty much two methodologies or the ways that we can do it, the modality. So lead gen, I would be looking at all of the things that I do. What are the pillars in my business of lead gen? How do I create new relationships?
What does a pillar mean?
What does a pillar mean? Pillar means what are one of the things that my business is built on, right? And we should have 3 to 4 of these lead gen pillars so that I can continue to run the business, right? So what are some of them? Name them real quick.
Open house.
Open houses, what else? Cold calls. What else? In a TCPA compliant way. What was the other?
So proud.
Farming.
Social media.
Oh, right, like this. Farming, social media, what else?
Database calls.
Database, thank you. Database, so SOI,
Teaching.
referrals,
Client, events,
all kinds of things, right?
and seminars.
And then what's between all of us making friends, meeting new people, right? What has to happen between here to get to the transaction? Jan mentioned that.
Some shit.
Oh. So there are 3 questions that we should ask to determine where we should focus over the first 30 days. Let's go to the next page. Oh, you're writing notes.
I am
Good.
writing notes. Sorry.
So I want to give these 3 questions that you can ask to determine where I should focus. Would anybody say they have, when they look at their business right now, what is the biggest challenge in your business that you think you'd have to solve right now? Anybody have any challenges in the business?
Finding more leads.
There you go. That's the first question, right? So can I get to consumer experience without creating leads? No, right? So all of this runs left to right. So the first question is, do I have enough leads coming into my business to hit my annual goal, my annual unit goal? If the answer is yes, then you move on. If the answer is no, what do you think you do? Yeah,
Find ways.
you stop there and solve that problem.
That's the area you audit.
That's the area
You're
you're
looking
in.
at the 3 areas, that's the area, then you say, here's where I need to audit.
And then the second question, what's the second question, Joseph? And how,
Following up with those leads with frequency, intensity, in an automated way.
so
Can also be systematic, right?
that's right.
Right.
So what are ways that we would do that?
Smart plans.
Our plans, DTD2. So if I answer the question as a yes, great, I move on. If I answer the question as a no, what do I do?
So I can fix it.
I stop and I fix that particular deficiency. Why? Because that's a lead indicator to me having more transactions, and me having more transactions is a lead indicator to me doing what? Hitting my goal, my money goal. Are you with me? The last question is, am I creating a consumer experience that's unmatched and creates more leads into my database? What's important about that question?
You don't want to have a one-hit wonder. You want what you're doing in number 1 to be repetitive throughout your career.
That's right. You want it to be scalable, and you also want to leverage the fact that almost 50% of real estate transactions still come through referral and past agent use, let's call it, right? And we'll give you those numbers. There's a huge percentage of us that might not have a system on the back end to create more referrals and more leads into our database after the great consumer experience that we've created. If we did that, and for every deal that came into your business, you got another deal, would that positively or negatively change your life and your business? Probably positively in a pretty big way. So what are we doing in this space to change our consumer experience so that we're getting more leads? Do we have anything to add to that? No. So the next slide, what now? So what are the questions that we're going to ask to determine what we have to do in that space? Who is currently doing this that I can learn from? So if I'm not generating enough leads, but somebody else is, it means it's possible, correct? The easiest way to then learn from that person is to what? Reach out and learn from them. I mean, why do we look for who first as compared to how?
Because they've already been helped.
Because why waste our time trying to figure out the how when somebody already has? And potentially, if I ask a good next question, which is what's the model that exists that's helping them? Now I can find a model and I can solve with that model very quickly. And then from there, I'm going to look at what do I need to know that I don't otherwise already know? And that's what's going to determine where I spend my time and invest my time, more specifically in training. Would you say KW does a lot of training? Decent amount here and there. Lots of.
Quick input on this is just going back to family reunion. Anyone who hasn't been to family reunion, my back is to half of y'all. It's cost effective for us this year more than others because you're not flying, but then every breakout you may go to will literally be like, scan here for my system, scan here to reach to my admin so she can help you or he can help you. My point being, if this is triggering or sorry, if it's resonating with you and family reunion, you're on the fence, this is where you go get that stuff. Because that is one thing we love about Keller Williams. It's an open book company. They will share everything with you. Done. I'm done. And see.
Anything to add to this?
Not yet.
So
Let's see where you come at planning. Reportedly, yes.
So when I'm go back to that last one. What's really important about this, and this is the action item for everybody here, is to go through those 3 questions on the front end. And then identify honestly, where is the gap that I should focus on in the next 30 days? It sounds very rudimentary. It sounds very simple. That's the point. Simple things we do, complex things, we just say we can't do it. Complexity and us creating complexity is just a way for us to give an excuse why we didn't do something. So simplicity is where action is. By asking these simple questions around where my deficiency is, and then answering that question with how do I make it no longer a deficiency? With these 3 questions will absolutely give you focus to stay in the 20% as compared to the 80%, because the 80% is so stinking loud. We all have things that we'd rather work on at times, but it's not going to drive the needle based on our goal. Anything to?
Yeah, I mean, I think where I appreciate this conversation so much is we spent so much time. I think our organization in 2025, particularly in Q4, probably did the best that we've done in a long time as it related to planning, like the business planning. We've always had business planning and getting under that, but it's like really then following up and doing any more after that. And when we talked about this concept this morning, or I'm sorry, when we planned this weeks ago, I was like, okay, this is kind of interesting, but that's the problem is we don't revisit this audit. And it's funny because after Vince and I kind of debriefed on talking about this, I watched the news article or the video on Joint Base Charleston. Did anybody see the practice mission they did yesterday? Right, Joint Base Charleston did this practice mission yesterday. 8 planes, 300 people, and the mission was to deploy from Charleston to the Pacific as efficiently as possible. Right, that's 40 hours in the air. 40 hours in the air, 8 planes were doing. So you think about what's doing this, and the colonel that was being interviewed said, what we're doing now is we're stress testing the systems, tools, and people that we put into plan last year to run the military this year. I thought, if they can do it, I think it's probably not a terrible idea that we look at it a couple different times, right? Like what's working and being okay if something's not. Right. And what I love about this is then putting all these things out there. Dave and I were talking about this morning. You put all these things out there that you're trying to do. Now find what's working. Right. And go put that into place. And it's asking these simple questions and refocusing on it. So I mean, this is and we're going to continue to do this. In ALC, we're going to continue to do it. In the trainings, we're going to continue to do it. And build this. Yeah, 100%.
So with that said, we have a couple of stats that we want to talk to you. So these are just things to think about that have recently come out in the NAR consumer survey. We're going to put on the calendar a training that just goes through the whole NAR survey, right? And why some of it is relevant, why some of it, and like how is it relevant to our clients? What are things that we need to know about what the consumer wants? And how do we adapt our business based off of those 3 questions, right? To what they say they want. So a couple of the ones, anything on here stand out? What stands out the very most?
They found their agent,
I'm sorry?
how they found their agent.
How they found their agent. Referred 43%, used an agent before 15%. I don't do math real good, but that seems like above 50%, right? That's pretty good. It means, what does that mean?
It means you need to work on your repeat business and you have to have a good consumer experience so that they use you again and you stay in touch.
It means consumer experience and database is still where majority of agents get most of their business. And that's where consumers want to get it. Right?
And I bet if you interviewed the other 85% that didn't use their, or 15% use their agent before, right? Okay, so that's not a lot. I mean, let's be honest. I bet if you interview the other 85%, the majority of them would not say that they didn't have a good experience. Right? The majority of them would likely say, I had an okay experience with that. Why didn't they use them again?
Bad about them.
Right? There's an argument they got out of the business, like we got that too, right? I mean, I understand that. But if they were still in the business, 9 times out of 10, it's gonna be
And that's where that satisfied. So if you go to the satisfaction from consumers, what they say, what do they say? 59% say over satisfied with their agent, mostly satisfied 33%. That's like 90 some percent. I think it's up there, right?
What else jumps out on this? Because we have,
Yeah, there you go.
Way higher than it used to be.
Yeah.
well, and here's the thing, and this is, we talked about this yesterday, Charlotte, is we've got to make decisions on who our target is.
That's right.
Right? And if I've got a database that's full of people mainly under 40 years old, there's nothing wrong with those people, but if my goal is to build relationships with home buyers and sellers, they're not going to be it. I'm not saying they can't, right? So how are we now moving or following the puck now to go to where the home buyers are? And that's a big one. 59, and the fence is almost 59. So
Good 7. Feel like it. Anything else on here stand out?
Affordability ranks lower than quality of neighborhood and like home selection.
Yeah, isn't that interesting? I was kind of shocked by that too, the factors in home selection and what they're saying was the reason that they selected that space. That's changed a little bit over the years.
Well, are these all? I mean, are these all tied to the same survey? The only reason I'm asking that is if you have if this survey determined that the median age was 59, I understand the number 3 breakdown, but also people in their 20s and 30s may have a different answer. So I guess what it goes back to is once you figure out your niche of your database or what you want to pursue, make sure your marketing applies to your age group. So 59-year-olds aren't TikToking, but they also.
Surprisingly, boomers now have.
TikToking, no kidding. Point is just get smart about your database and understand what that is. Because overall affordability, I bet is that age, I think is the answer to that.
I agree.
So just be intuitive, use common sense with your own database, period.
You're determining where the opportunity is. Go ahead, Joe.
And see.
You're determining where the opportunity is, but more specifically, that has to align with who you feel like you can help at the highest level possible, who you feel pulled to help, right? I'm pulled to help first-time home buyers. Then 10 years ago, 15 years ago, that number was about 10 years younger than it is today, right? Well, then I better adapt who I'm talking to because I still want to help first-time home buyers. So even in small micro niches, that's going to be something that I'm doing. I'm constantly adapting to that person. And I have to also appreciate that the population of those that are first-time home buyers is at historical lows, right? Year over year. So I think it was like 21% for first-time home buyers, something like that. Well, the median numbers
tell the story, right? I mean,
that's right.
Got, if the repeat was 62 and the first time was 40, but median is 59, that means there were more buyers buying a second home or moving up.
That's right.
That's just telling you that by what the median says.
So you have to understand that. You have to understand the opportunity. Because there's less first-time home buyers, it means you need more of that population in your database to convert the same amount of. That's all. That's okay. You just have to know what you're up against in order to put the plan in place that you want to put in place and hit that goal. Anything else here before we close up?
Well, the new construction resale, for me, there's so much noise about new construction. Everybody can take a deep breath because the resale is still a really great market. If you price it right, then you actually won't get too destroyed by the new construction influence.
That's right. And in our market, that number's closer to like 25 or so percent. It's a little higher, especially when you go to
Makes
certain
sense.
neighborhoods and certain zip codes. That's really driven big way.
We could be looking at too, if the interest rate does drop, because there are people out there that kept saying, regardless of what we tell them, they're waiting for that interest rate to drop. So we lost a lot of those first time home. So let's say it does drop and the first time home buyers jump back in, that's gonna change that median age across.
It could potentially.
Good point.
That could happen.
Well, especially if this is what they're saying, if the affordability is not super important to the current buyers, then maybe it's not important to them because the ones who was important to just didn't buy.
Well, and Vince just also kind of touched on it with our market, median age is actually higher than that even in our market, actually. Which to me was more alarming. That first time home buyer in Charleston is 44. Like, that's very unusual for historical perspectives. You know, historically it was in the low 30s. You know, but these last few years have really shifted that.
Well, that's like kind of what we talked the last recap with the affordability issue. I mean, there's affordability issue. Affordability has gone up nationwide. There's an affordability issue in Greater Charleston. I mean, and that's just reality. And the people that it impacts the most are going to be first on the market.
Right.
Well, I think that the label of where you want to be in Charleston, that's got to change because there's so many fantastic places, not downtown. You know what I mean? I live in Nexton, so y'all come there. It's fantastic.
So lastly, why do understanding or knowing these statistics help us craft our plan to go and hit our goal? Why is it important to know this?
You have to find them how they are.
That's right. You got to meet people where they are, and you have to these tell us what people want. They also tell us how they're finding real estate agents. So what are the things that I have to work on within my business to really push my thumb on those data points so that I can take advantage of being able to help as many people as possible.
This really helps you understand your own database.
That's right.
Because you probably have 3,000 people on your phone, but how well do you know them or how connected are you to them? And also they fit in this because they're not all going to do business with you, not this year. That's right. But at some point they might, if you are targeting them the right way.
Yeah. And consistently staying in touch with them with different value points, right? Needed and useful information, whether it's email drips, whether it's the quarterly calls, doing the DTD2. And the last thing I'll say is go to the trainings. Once I've identified my deficiency, I realize it's in follow-up. I'm not following up with frequency and intensity in an automated or systematic way. The way I know I could make a change in the amount of people I help. Then identify who's done it and plan, but more specifically, then go to the training on smart plans. That's how we have to start to think about where we invest our time in training as well. And then when you feel like we need additional training, come to us, come to the education committee and tell us, we'll have some training on this because I feel like a lot of people have had this challenge and this deficiency. And then we'll get it on the calendar with somebody that's trusted in that space. With that said, anything else? Throughout the week, it's already Thursday. Holy smokes. Earn the weekend. We're humble to be in business with you. If you need anything, let us know. Thank you so much.
There's a sheet going around if you didn't sign in, that would be super helpful. I don't know if you want maybe sign in, just do it, or.
And if you want to talk about the deficiencies or the challenges or the things you want to change in your business, jump on my calendar. Here's a link for the consulting, and we can go through your business plan, the whole 9 yards. Thanks.
Thanks, Don.
Thanks, all. Thanks, Brian.
Bye, guys.
What up,